necessarily tribal or regional.
But I have said that.
All right, thank you for staying. This is Daybreak, reaching you from the nation's capital right here on Trust Television. Time for us to take a look at the dailies. On Daybreak, we have Dr. Larry Oluwani to give us perspectives on some of the stories on our headlines this morning. Good morning, Dr. Larry. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah. All right, so we'll begin with Daily Trust newspaper this morning. The lead story says, governorship polls. Litigations dock primaries as INEC releases final list today. And the writer says APC battles lawsuits in Abia, Adamawa, Kaduna, Plateau, and others. PDP faces suits in Abia, Delta, Ogun, Kano, Niger, and others. Nigeria's democracy is court dependent. That's according to Dr. Kari. You would also find above the lead story, the remaining schoolgirls, not forgetting the abducted schoolgirls of Birni Auri, 11 of them still in custody, 474 days after. We still have one student of Bethel Baptist High School, Kujama, 447 days after, still in captivity. NDLEA recovers 8.8 billion naira tramadol from another billionaire drug baron, and that's on page 21. Flood takes over Lokoja Abuja Highway, sacks community in Jigawa on page 5. 3-year-old dies after rape by 49-year-old neighbor in Kano on page 7. You'd find also the pictorial shows you Independence Day celebration. President of Rotary Club Jos District, Josephine Azoba, present books to students of Government Secondary School Township Jos. And you also have children having fun at Johnson Jakonde Tinubu Parks, Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos yesterday. Below that, you'd find a story that says used cars importation dropped by 177.2 billion naira in 6 months. That's on page 23. Wike calms silence after Enugu meeting on settles PDP leaders on page 35. Benue mob tortures 2 elders to death over witchcraft claim on page 6. Fidelity Bank to offer 3 billion on issued shares, and that's on page 23 as well. Well, these are the stories on the front page of the Daily Trust this morning.
All right, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. The Punch newspaper has a lead story that says PDP crisis. BOT convenes emergency meeting to rescue Atiku's campaign. The first rider, party board meets this week as pressure mounts on PDP chairman to throw in the towel. We can't go into polls divided. We'll make needed sacrifices to move forward. This is coming from a member of the BOT. Wabara-led reconciliation panel meets Atiku ahead of Tuesday Port Harcourt meeting with Wike. Also, syndicate denies injecting child beggars as police hunt doctor. Also on the Punch, NDLEA bust billionaire drug baron, recovers mansions, seizes 8 billion naira worth of tramadol. We also have a story here. Debt servicing on Nigeria's Eurobonds rises by 86%. Over 400 fleeing Kuje inmates still at large. Then we also have scientists who extracted DNA from 40,000-year-old bones wins Nobel Prize. Also, consumers get 1.12 trillion naira bill, pays 775 billion amid blackouts. These are the major stories on the Punch newspaper for today.
All right. Next up, let's take a look at the Nation newspaper. This morning, the lead story there says, Presidency, why Tinubu is best for the job, by Almakura. You also have ex-governor says, Atiku, Obi, Kwankwaso, no match for APC candidates' competence. You'd also find above the masthead there, NDLEA seizes 8.8 billion naira tramadol pills in raid of Lagos mansion. A laughing stool. 9 ruling houses to present 1 candidate. Unilag to get new vice-chancellor Friday. I'm not a social media freak, says Kwankwaso. And then, of course, the pictorial there shows you a rally, women rally for Tinubu Shetima Sanwo-Olu in Lagos. And then Geregu Power set to sell 250 billion naira shares. Nigeria, others tackling exchange rate crisis, says World Bank. These are the stories on the front page of The Nation.
All right, let's take a look at this day newspaper. The This Day newspaper has a lead story that says, Rivers APC to APC governors, visiting Wike an embarrassment to our party. It has a rider, threatens to take matters into its own hands if national leadership fails to do something. Above that, 2023, Aliyu, Shekarau, Haruna, others rally support for Atiku. And just above that, NDLEA arrests another billionaire drug baron in Lagos. And just above the masthead, this is coming from Guinea, it's impossible to rig 2023 polls. Elections will be won or lost at polling units. Also on this day for today, despite global volatility, Nigeria's stock market appreciated by 4.15 trillion naira in 9 months. These are the stories on this day for today.
All right, so let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper this morning. It says, the lead story says, PDP may cede Senate presidency to Southwest, SGF to Southeast. You would also see stories that says, Bepu alleges 2 herders lynched in Birningwari are terrorists from Sudan. And then cargo strapped in Apapa, Tinkan ports as truckers threaten to short operations. And then other stories, disgraceful defeat awaits Akpabio, Don Etebet warns. He also finds Haraki missing as Buhari lists Lawan, Gbajabiamila, CJN, Okonjo-Iweala, music stars for national awards. Nans kicks against conferment of national honor on Education Minister Adamu. You also have Mbaka to spend time in solitude, not sacked from Adoration Ministry, says Catholic Church. These are the stories on the Guardian newspaper.
All right, let's look at Business Day. Business Day has a lead story that says, Nigeria's 2023 borrowing plans at risk as creditors dry up. Also, leaders who can manage change desperately needed. This is coming from Gbajabiamila. And then we have Nigeria's external reserves plunged to 1-year low. Also on Business Day, Geregu Power set to go public at 100 naira per share. These are the major stories on Business Day.
All right. So let's now get perspectives on some of the stories here this morning. Like we told you, we have Dr. Lanre Oluwaniyi with us in the studio. Thanks again for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's begin with the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Quite a number of interesting stories, but let's begin with the political stories. The lead story here is about the governorship polls and basically looking at the litigations that have trailed primary elections in several states, even as INEC is set to release final list of candidates for governorship and State House of Assembly today. What's the implication of this on the process?
Thank you very much. It's a pity that at this stage of our democracy, we depend on the rulings of the courts, which is the third arm of the government, to tell us the right thing to do. Why am I saying this is that before now, on our electoral act bill, we have a situation whereby a governor will have been sworn in. After that, litigation is still on, pre-election matters, and eventually we have a lot of staggered election in this country due to court verdict. Because of that, the National Assembly felt that for us to reduce this, because it costs a nation either to do a wrong or to do otherwise. Then I said, let's do a reamendment in a situation whereby before the general election, let every litigation ended up in 3 months. Because if we ended up in 3 months, INEC will have a list that this is the original candidate. Not after election. And you have spent money for election, and court can just decide that go back and do it wrong. It's really affecting our economy, and it's affecting our democracy. So we need to come to a level whereby we should understand that power is not a do or die affair.
So would you say that the essence of that provision has now been defeated, looking at what we are experiencing?
It's not yet defeated because we have not yet got to the pool. We still have about 4 months or 5 months to the pool. But no matter anything, I believe some of these cases now may be still at the lower court, not yet at appeal. We have not talked about Supreme. So that will tell you that the way they are going, if I thought I never release a list today, a final list today, we don't know what will happen next week again.
One of the reasons this happened is due to lack of internal democracy within the parties. What do you think can be done to entrench internal democracy in parties?
I've said it time with a number in different occasions about Nigeria political system. We don't have internal democracy because there are too much of egos and there are lack of ideologies. Many of the political parties don't have ideology. And since you don't have ideology, anything goes. How can you strengthen it? It's a very simple thing. You must have a mechanism, though they will claim to you that they have a mechanism system in a situation whereby you have to report any case to the National Working Committee of a party and they will look into it before you go into the court. But when do you know that the National Working Committee or the committee they will set up will also be biased? So the member will feel like instead of me to go and sit down in front of you or report to you, I will go straight to the court. That is not bias. So it's a problem.
Well, you said they will go to the courts that is not bias. However, conflicting judgments by courts is also contributing to this problem. Different members of the party can go to different courts and get different judgments, you know.
They do that, but along the line, Supreme Court still makes sure that the right thing is done. You can get conflicting judgment from different lower courts due to your money. Nobody's against that. But if we now said the judiciary is biased, that means there is no hope for the masses again. There is no hope for the common man. That means we don't even have hope again in this nation. So, but upon all those cases, you will see that Supreme Court still come up and say, no, this is the right way to go. And everybody will say, the court has ruled. So we can have that at the lower court, which is normal in a developing nation, where some people are just being corrupt in some extent. So, but it's okay. But majorly, that has been our major problem in democracy system of Nigeria. The party system are not working towards internal democracy. From year in, year out, you hear all manners of problems. And how long are we going to do that?
How can we empower a body like the electoral umpire, INEC, to take certain decisions such that candidates do not have to go to court? Maybe that will reduce the number of litigations that we are seeing.
The issue there is that you can't ask a candidate not to go to court because they will let you know that it's a basic right according to international standard.
Okay,
you
so for instance, let me give a scenario here.
Yeah.
A primary election was conducted somewhere in Yobe State, the constituency where the Senate president is coming from, and you have a person, one of the candidates, who was declared winner of that primary, and that primary was witnessed by INEC. But when the INEC, was to release the list, the name of that person was not on the list. Why? Because there were litigations, involved in the whole of the matter and the rest.
Yeah, they made mention of it.
Exactly. So eventually, it was clear that INEC actually witnessed that election.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have INEC just gone ahead to
as of
publish
the
the
cases
name
in
of
the
the
court,
person?
they said it when they released the list, that some area that the cases are in the court, they will not release a verdict on it. When the matter is before the competent court of jurisdiction.
But it was clear that this was the winner of this primary.
It was clear, but eventually...
Was it necessary to actually go through the process?
Because the other person felt that maybe he's cheated in one way or the other, and he took the winner to court. And court make a final verdict, and everybody come back to their senses. That is who we are in this country. That's the truth.
Whenever these issues come up, I keep going back to this situation in Zamfara. Zamfara State, the governor of Zamfara State was determined by a court. Yeah. And all of this happened due to lack of internal democracy within the party at that time. Now, what that means is that it could deprive the people of their choice, because whoever they voted for during the elections, because some of these matters actually go through the election, the person is voted in, and after the court could say, no, this is not the person. Meanwhile, the person that the state voted for is different.
I understand what you're saying. What we're supposed to be looking out for is how to rejig our political system holistically. I understand the issue of Zamfara, but the danger that this thing poses is because we are going to have all manner of civil unrest. Because when somebody that is not the person you want is leading you as a leader, or all the plans that the person bring on board, you won't even like it. You won't even want it. Just like what happened in Imo State. You know that since courts have declared the APC governor as a winner of that election, people have a kind of resistance to openings of Dima government. That's the truth. And after that moment, that's what you saw. You know what we are seeing in Imo State right now? All manner of civil unrest. That's the implication. That is why I said we need to look at the situation whereby all these issues can be holistically solved. But the party people will not listen, because everybody wants to have his or her own way. The major problem is that we should reduce the benefit in leadership. What do I mean? You can be a governor. Let's reduce some powers, some benefit that goes alongside with the governor. You can be a minister. You can be a minister coming from your home.
But I mean, going by the benefits that there are for governors on paper, theoretically, are they really that attractive? Or there's something else?
It's because in this part of the world, we are not accountable to the citizen. If it's a situation whereby you know that when you are there, from the one you are there, citizens owe you accountable, you will be afraid to go there. Can't you see what happened in UK? Their prime minister are voluntarily resigning. Say, okay, is that what you guys want? I'm leaving, no problem. Because it's about service to the people. It's about delivering service, but here is another way.
Why do politicians in this climb find it difficult to accept defeat? Is it a psychological issue? What exactly?
It's just an ego. It's an ego. It's just, how can I just believe that these people won this election? No, I won't. I will go there. It's just about the same power. And we are still, there is a way they capture African leaders. African leaders are crazy about power. That's the truth. I'm not saying the other people too, or some of them are not crazy about, but majorly is in our system, is in our gene. Even when you go to the local community, you will be amazed that in the local community, some people are fighting over chairman of local government, chairman of community association. Am I lying? Some people are fighting over chairman of association of Okada rider, of motorcycle, whatever. Yes.
Why is it also lucrative?
No, they just feel like, why my go to court, you see all manner of cases from different associations. Is it TUC? Is it NSC? No, we are dividing this into two. We are having fashion. Why?
Power.
Power. Are they governor? So something is wrong with us. It's about us. It's not, at times, you look at it, it's not even about the law. Because it's we that make the law, and it's we that are intentionally violating the law.
All right, let's take a look at this the story. The NDLEA seem to be doing quite a lot in recent times. We are seeing that there is this NDLEA recovering 8.8 billion naira tramadol from another billionaire drug baron. This is coming just a few weeks after the NDLEA busted what they described as the
biggest ever.
Yes, the biggest ever, interception that they have made in the history of NDLEA. Quite a lot really going on with the NDLEA, isn't it?
Now, take it or leave it. Give it to Buba Marwa. He's a man that is very focused. And that is why I always tell Nigerians, we don't appreciate leaders when you find one. When this man was a former military administrator in Lagos State, he did wonderful well in terms of security, in terms of rules of engagement. You can't even know that it's a military dictatorship. He came up with a lot of positive. Even this 3 cycle you all see all over Nigeria today, it was initiated by Obama. As of then, I could still remember. It was one that brought 3 cycle to this country, that this is the easier way, easier access for people to go.
But
so
aside from the man at the helm of affairs, what has changed with the operations or the workings of the NDLEA?
I'm just telling you, it's about the person. That's the truth. That is how Nigerian system operates. When they get somebody that know what is doing at the top, all of them sit right. But let him leave that place now and bring one person that doesn't even ready to work. That is our nature here. But when you get to any parastatal, get to any ministry, get a group AMSEC, you see all of them resuming work at the right time, doing the needful, but get someone that himself is resuming work 12 o'clock. All of them do the way they like. So that is our way here. That's just our nature.
What does this indicate about leadership, in our institutions? Because we need to be able to have institutions that, can actually work regardless of the man at the helm of affairs.
Exactly. That is why we always saying that we need institution, not a strong man. That is one of our major challenges in African country. We always like to celebrate men. We always like to look for men. Just like in the issue of presidency, whatever governorship we are all talking about. If the system are in place, I don't need extraordinary men to come and rule the affairs of men. Why? They have a structure that is working already. So our institutions are not yet working, functioning the way it should be functioning. In a situation whereby, if I apply for something today in any ministry, if it's 10 working days that it's going to take, let it be exactly 10 working days. I don't need to know man. I don't need to know anybody. But we are not yet there. We're in a country whereby you don't know somebody that knows somebody, you won't get what you want. Even your international passport.
All right. Still on the Daily Trust, there's this story here, very heart-rending. 3-year-old dies after rape by 49-year-old neighbor in Kano. This little girl was molested by this man, and she died of a heart attack. And you keep seeing stories like this. Is it that the laws are not being implemented, or that we need stricter laws to tackle these things?
The issue there is that most of our governors, let me put it that way, because this is not about president now. They don't really take this gender-based violence. They don't even take it seriously.
Is this even a gender-based violence? This is a baby.
Yeah, I know. It's a baby, but we have a lot of them. Sexual harassment, rape, abuse. Are you getting it? And some states said that the penalty is, I think, is death or whatever. In some states, I think in the Ekiti state or so. Other states are not even taking the cue. Other states have not even re-amended their laws to that extent. So some are saying it must not be a capital punishment. So what are we saying? These are the reasons, these are things that the international community they do research on, and they find that is too many in our country, and they seem not to recognize us on some areas. That's the truth. I think, is he not president of which country? I think Zimbabwe. It was the one inviting King Charles to come to Zimbabwe, that he wanted to do the funeral of Queen Elizabeth again in Zimbabwe. And the man said, just tell him that I will not come because the human rights abuse in your country is too high.
All right. Well, it's quite a sad one, and I hope that leaders, do something more seriously to be able to curb this. We have other stories that we'd like to look at. On the Punch newspaper, for instance, the lead story there says, PDP crisis, BOT convenes emergency meeting to rescue Atiku's campaign. The writer says party board meets this week as pressure mounts on PDP chairman to throw in the towel. And then you have, we can't go into polls divided. We'll make needed sacrifices to move forward, BOT member says. And then you have Wabara-led reconciliation panel meets Atiku ahead of Tuesday Port Harcourt meeting with Wike. Now, we're hearing that there's mounting pressure on the chairman of the PDP to resign as the PDP chair. Now, we are not sure yet whether he will agree to do that, but that pressure is coming from some members of the BOT of the PDP. What's your take on, this new development in the PDP?
This is part of internal democracy we are talking about. They are not able to provide internal democracy in their party. So how can they prove to Nigerian citizens that they can rescue the country? It's a moral issue. The chairman of the party said it clearly. If a northern candidate clinches the ticket of the party, I will resign. It's not
well,
the public
some people say he never has made a statement like that.
I mean, are you not in this country? Are you not a media journalist? I mean, I heard it. I don't know about you. It's at the public space.
No, they said he said when the party wins the presidential race, not when they pick the candidates.
No. I don't want to go into the old stories. We are in this country. When they set up the Uguayin Committee of Zoning Arrangement, and they came out and said, okay, we throw it open. And then I say, if we throw it open, what will happen if another candidate clinches the ticket? I say, he will resign. But that is okay. The people in the party say they are not denying it because it's a moral issue. That's part of the ego and leadership tussle we are talking about. Everybody just want to be there. Now, in their constitution, if a candidate comes from North, chairman of the party must come from South. So for them to throw away their constitution, zoning arrangement, that is why they find themselves in this crisis.
So, would you say that they saw this coming and that maybe they felt they'll be able to...
Exactly. I believe someone like their presidential candidate believe he will be able to maneuver it and play on other people intelligent. But me, I don't understand. I don't know where we are going. Because it's your constitution. You have it in your constitution. So, and though I'm also afraid for them because if IU resign, it will also affect the structure of National Working Committee. Because don't forget, IU is from the North as a chairman. National Secretary must come from the South. So if IU resign as a North, and chairman come from the South, what will happen to the National Secretary? What will happen to other organizing secretary, wherever zoning they are in? So I know what they are facing.
So there are those that have suggested that perhaps maybe they should consider dissolving the committee and then set up an acting committee.
Well, it's left to them. Because as a leader, when you are making a choice, you must not think about now. That is the only thing they have done that I have seen that they have shot themselves at the right leg. When you are making such decision at that time, didn't they have lawyers among them? Did they have reputable leaders among them? That come, guy, what we are about to do will cause us future problems. And that's what. But I don't know if they can pamper the weaker side. But I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
One of the writers on the point says that they are meeting to rescue Atiku campaign. Does it mean that the campaign is in trouble?
The campaign is in trouble already now. And then, is it not in trouble? They want to rescue his campaign because when you are inaugurating your presidential campaign committee, the chairman of the party is not there. And about 4 governors are not there. Why is he out of the country? What is his job? A chairman of a party, what is his job? What did they elect him to do? Is it not the one to inaugurate the PCC? He said he's not in the country. He just technically, arranged himself to be outside of the country. And about 4 governors are not there. How many governors did they have? They just have only 10 governors also. And 4 were not present. Or 4 were not even with them. So it tells you that they are not prepared. That's the truth. They are not prepared and they are not ready. And everybody just full of interest. That's what I can see. Interest is too much.
So we are now seeing the emergence of the PDP G5, another tag. I don't know where that came from. I mean, we have seen this in the past before.
Exactly.
We are now seeing
that's the newest angle to the mix.
Exactly. I don't know who is bringing up this whole G5 thing. And now they are saying that they are the ones giving the conditions. So,
you see?
Governor Otom Kinde. Egwai, Ikpazu of Abia and the rest. So it looks like we are heading, I mean, maybe history is about to repeat.
Yes. They are the one determining how things go. But because I won't blame them. That's the truth.
But do you think that there's hope? Because, I mean, the BOT is doing everything from...
Why not? There is always...
that they can still reconcile?
Yeah, why not? They still have a lot of time, 4 months ahead of them. Why not? Because, let me tell you, there is a solution in any problem. I don't believe there is no solution. Only if all of us can throw down our ego. Only if you can say, come, for the national interest. Because what I've seen so far in our political system is that selfish interest is overriding national interest. Now, if the chairman of the party say, no, I don't want my selfish interest to override national interest. We want to rescue power from APC. We want Nigerians to be better. Is it not? Is it not their goal? Is it not their purpose? Why not? You resign. And you tell them, do whatever, anything you want to do. Either you will do mini convention, either NEC will ratify it, either whatever. And
but the NEC passed the vote of confidence on him, though.
Yes, they passed. Is it NEC or National Working Committee? It's National Working Committee that passed the vote of confidence on him. That is their issue. That is part of the game now. It's a game. He has his own people there, so they can do and undo. That's what we are saying. Are they even loyal to party? Are they even loyal to country, our country? They are loyal to men.
Well, we'll get to see all of that as the drama continue to unravel. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Oluwan Ilari, on the Daybreak show and giving us your perspectives. We appreciate it.
Thank you.